So they did a study of piano players. They took a group of people that had never played piano or had a very low level of piano ability, and they gave them an exercise. We're going to teach you how to do a very simple piano thing, something that they could objectively measure, like, did they learn this skill or not? Half the group sat at a piano and got to do the exercise for a certain amount of time every day, multiple times over a period of like a couple of weeks. And they measured how well they learned. The other half of the people never sat down to the piano, but they had them sit in a place with their eyes closed, visualizing exactly how to do the mechanics of their fingers in the hand on the keyboard for the same amount of time, only they never touched a piano. Both groups of people had the same skill level with this actual thing when they sat back down at the piano at the end of that. Isn't that amazing? Here we go. This is the science of visualization. We're going to spend the next 30 minutes breaking down how your brain is more powerful than almost any other muscle in your body. Even your tongue, which supposedly is the strongest muscle, I've been told, but I think the brain is actually the strongest, right? You've also got your skin as the largest organ, all sorts of weird biology facts that we're not going to go into depth on because this is more about real estate today, guys. Okay. We are doing Priyanka's here. Awesome. My co-host, Priyanka Johri, will be turning on her camera and microphone momentarily. And we are going to talk about when things go right and things go wrong. How to use visualization, both to set things up in advance, how to use visualization when things are going not as well. This is our bi-weekly series called Emotional Gymnastics for Real Estate, which that visual you're having in your mind is exactly what we're going for. We're talking about the side of real estate that people don't always talk about, right? The side of our job that probably should be talked about more often than anything because so much of this business is mindset. And Priyanka is an amazing agent from Houston, Texas. What's going on, Priyanka?
10,000 things at the same time, as always.
I love it. All right, cool. So she does 10,000 things. She rescues animals. She helps, she has, assisted living facilities, and she is an investor, and she's an amazing real estate agent. So let's jump in. If you are watching this on Facebook, YouTube, wherever, comment, let us know how we can help. And really, in terms of visualization, I want to tell a quick story that Jake just told us before we started. Because this illustrates, Priyanka, you'll love this. This is some about like the challenges that happen in real estate. He said back when he was an ISA, he once had a client and he had to set up like 9 showings for this person all over town and blah, blah, blah. And like he did all this work for this person only to find out that their brother was a realtor or something like that. I don't remember the exact details, but like, and then he had to go and apologize to the agent and back out and undo all these things. And like, this is the industry we live in, right? This is the industry we work in. And there are times when using visualization might be the appropriate thing to do in that method, in that moment. So let me ask first, Priyanka, is visualization something that you do on a regular basis or have any connection to?
So I do it, but consciously. And I realized years later that I have been doing it because my friends kept telling me, like, you manifest things. I said, what do you mean? He's like, whatever you decide to do, you basically just make it happen. One day you're talking about something and 2 or 3 months later, it's just like, what the heck, Priyanka's doing this? And I realized that's where, what do I call setting intentions and letting universe know. And I started paying more attention to what I was doing and how I have been doing it for visualization, because I get focused about it, but there's also a fine line where it's focus versus obsession. And I have learned that if I obsess about something, those things do not happen. If I'm worrying about it and constantly thinking about it, those are the things that I'm obsessing and energy and stress towards the universe versus that I go, I'm gonna do, and do not overthink it, right? So I'm just going for it. I'm not focused on the result. I'm thinking like, what do I need to do? Okay, I need to do this step, that step. Oh, I need to do this. And I just start doing. Those are the things that work out for me or happen, right? That's what my friends call manifesting it or manifestation, but I realize it's not that. It's the attachment, right? So Indian philosophy, I don't know if you know that, it's like, do your work, but don't get attached to the outcome. And I did not understand it as I was growing up because parents and like in the community or society, this is said a lot. just do your work. Don't get attached to the outcome. Whatever is the outcome is outcome. Work is the most important thing. And I'm not talking about busy work like as a job or something. Like whatever you're doing, just do it. And whatever the results, just accept it. Now I understand what they mean, that do your work, but don't get too attached to the outcome, because outcome is not in your hands, actually. All you can do is the work or steps to get somewhere, right? So when you're talking about visualization, I think it's very close to what I do, but I don't sit down and actually visualize. It's just in my nature to
Interesting.
start doing things.
Well, let me ask you a
Right.
question. Well, let me ask you a question. And by the way, your audio is breaking up just a little bit. So if I start doing this with my arms and hands, that's because your audio is breaking up. So that's what
Okay.
I'll tell you. All right.
All right.
So because we will talk about, guys, if you're following along, we will talk about the specific science behind visualization, some of the how-tos, but I want to dive into what Priyanka just said, because I've always heard what you focus on expands. You've probably heard that, but you just said what I obsess over doesn't happen because it gets like a block in the way. Can we expand that a little bit behind what's going on there? Like the attach, you talked about the attachment. Is that like, what do you think it is that when that the intention behind what you're doing, or how does that change between focusing on something versus obsession?
So if I'm focusing on the result, right, or the goal, I'm not doing all the steps that needs to be done to get there. I'm just focusing on like, oh, I want this so bad. I want this. I need this. Why this is not happening? And all my energy is being spent on obsessing over why something is not happening versus actually doing to get the result or getting somewhere that I want to be. So one of my friends always asks me, like, she has been a friend for a long time. She said, I'm trying to learn this from you and I just can't. Can you just give me the steps? Like, how do you do it? How do you make things happen?
Yep.
And I had to sit down and think about like, how do I explain it to her, like how to do this? And I realized that what I'm calling something, I am more nervous energy, more negative kind of thing. What if this goes wrong? What if this happens? I really want it. I hope this doesn't go wrong. And things go wrong. Like anytime I have a thought, like, I hope this doesn't go wrong, things are gonna go wrong.
Well, so this is why I'm gonna jump in right there, because this is something we've talked about before. Your brain doesn't hear the negatives. Your brain doesn't hear, I hope this doesn't go wrong. It just hears the go wrong part. And that's all it knows is that part. So that's what you then attract in. And because even though you don't sit down to visualize, it's still kind of going through your mind. It is a visualization in a way.
It is. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't do it like sit down and visualize, like, the technique wise, it just I live that life. Right. So it's like, it's happening. Yep. It's projecting. So I say, like, I set my intention and I let it loose, like freeing a bird, right? And just let it go to the universe, and then let universe start orchestrating what needs to happen. I just need to be very, very aware and conscious as the opportunities start coming my way. Like, oh, this person just showed up in my life and I need him or her for this, what I'm doing, this project. Oh, this item showed up. Like, my stories, like how the sanctuary happened, how the assisted living happened. It basically, I said like, oh, I want a sanctuary. And I was so obsessed about it. Like for 2 years I looked and nothing happened. And then the week I said, oh, maybe this is not meant to be. I'm never going to have a sanctuary. I'm just going to let it go. Next week, I stumbled, got lost, and found the place where the sanctuary is. And we have been there for now, 15, 16 years. And it's amazing. I would have never, like what I was looking for is nothing close to what I actually found. Universe had that already in place. I just had to let go of my obsession. And then it happened.
And it's really interesting. So we've got the Eastern side, which, by the way, I absolutely do believe in, the energetic, that side of the universe delivering what you're looking for. However, I will say on the scientific side, because part of it, once you release that attachment, you were open to other options where something showed up to actually solve it. And here's the science behind, because I am pretty obsessed with the science of the brain and visualization.
It's quantum physics. Yeah, it's 100% science.
They did this study. I don't know if you've seen the one with piano players. Have you seen the study of piano players? So they did a study of piano players. They took a group of people that had never played piano or had a very low level of piano ability, and they gave them an exercise. We're going to teach you how to do a very simple piano thing, something that they could objectively measure, like, did they learn this skill or not? Half the group sat at a piano and got to do the exercise for a certain amount of time every day, multiple times over a period of like a couple of weeks. And they measured how well they learned. The other half of the people never sat down at the piano, but they had them sit in a place with their eyes closed, visualizing exactly how to do the mechanics of their fingers in the hand on the keyboard for the same amount of time, only they never touched a piano. Both groups of people had the same skill level with this actual thing when they sat back down at the piano at the end of that. Isn't that amazing?
It is. And it's like your muscle memory even builds up when you're visualizing. So again, not the Eastern side of it, is a scientist in me. So when I was working for the big corporation, I was really stressed about just the projects was going on and different things were happening. And I went to a yoga class because I was so stressed out, and yoga class was in the building. So company paid for it for the employees to do yoga at lunchtime. Coming from India, I thought yoga was hocus pocus. I'm not gonna get into it. But then my doctor was telling me you have to go and do yoga and meditation. So I would go for this class, and I was really tired and I was really irritated. Like, I come all the way from India over here and I'm getting sucked into the same thing. And the instructor asked me, like, what's going on? And I told him, I said, I'm so tired. He's like, just go in the back of the class, lie down on your yoga mat and close your eyes. And you don't have to do yoga. You just listen to my voice and imagine your body doing it. That's all I want from you. So just take a nap basically, but don't fall asleep, and do the whole yoga in your head, but don't do it physically. And you won't believe I did that, and I feel more relaxed than I had felt in few months at that time. And I said, how does it work? It's like your body did the whole yoga. Because when you were, your brain was listening to me and you were doing it in your head, your body was following it.
Yeah.
And your muscles got relaxed and everything. And then I did it again with him a couple of times. And then I actually started doing yoga, but it really worked for me. And it's true. Your brain has more power than you can imagine. And I have read a story about somebody in solitary confinement doing exercises. The room was too small, or the area that he was in couldn't do all the exercises, and he kept his muscles, because most people waste away in solitary confinement, because he was mentally doing all those exercises.
Wow.
Yep.
That's incredible. So are you saying people listening to this right now could be running a marathon and like losing weight, getting healthy just while sitting here? They could be thinking about running a marathon while sitting here.
Jesse, did we just discover something that can save the world?
All right. Well,
That's so neat.
we won't go that far today, because I have a feeling there's a level of discipline in your mind and visualization, but we'll bring it back down to like the day to day. So this is something I do when I go on a listing appointment. Let's bring it back to the world of real estate for a minute. Before I go on a listing appointment, I have a routine. I listen to music. Doesn't have to be the same song. It's always something different, but something to like pump me up and get me in the state as I'm driving up there. And it used to be I would do it for like half an hour, and after doing this for almost 20 years, it literally is like a minute or two before I pull up. So I'm gonna get myself pumped up, get in the zone. I'll park in front of the house and I'll close my eyes, and I will actually spend 2 minutes just going through the flow of my presentation. I will literally visualize. This is the science of visualization. Walking in the door, I'll visualize all my steps of what I do in listing presentation. I'll visualize sitting there. I'll visualize connecting. I visualize the energy between us. I visualize them signing the agreement, hiring me, happy, hugging, whatever we do. And I walk out. I do that all in my mind for a couple of minutes before I go. And it really does change how the appointment goes. Not because I'm controlling the seller, not because that does anything to do with control the seller, but because it controls who I am being when I show up there. Does that make sense?
It does. So let me ask you a question. If you don't do this and go for a listing appointment, do you feel that you don't perform as well as when you do it?
I don't, because it's part of my habit and my routine. It's just the visualization helps set the scene for what I'm about to do. I use the example of the Olympics are on TV right now, right? The example of the Olympics. Pretty much every high level athlete you will ever hear interviewed talks about visualization. They will go through the entire race in their head many times over for months and weeks before and right before they race. Every sporting event. It gets you conditioned to it. And if all it's doing, because I deep down, if all it's doing is making me feel more confident, that's all I need to take the listing anyway. But I do believe, because your brain learns, like it is just making it, it's just solidifying it. So you can go in and then I can focus on what really matters to me, which is connecting with my client.
Right.
I'm not thinking about what I'm going to be doing. I'm just focused on present in that moment.
So it's very similar to when like we were growing up. It's like before you do something, go over your steps. So I used to go for debates and stuff like that. And my teacher always said, before you go on a stage, right before, just forget about everything, disconnect from rest of your world, life, whatever is going on, and just go over the steps. And I'm sorry, my dog's
You're
getting
fine.
excited. So it's very similar to that. Like you're going over your steps and you're visualizing what is going to happen, right? And it gets you more prepared.
Speaking of being present in interruptions, right?
Right, exactly. This is part of my life, right? Okay, what happens? So, like for me, I don't do that when I go to listing presentations. I'm like swinging from one thing to another and different things. But going to listing presentation, I used to be very nervous in the starting, right? First few years, because I felt like, oh, you have to have that 30-step presentation and you have to have visual aids and you have to your listing presentation with you. I did all that, right? But it did not work for me personally. Hold on. Sorry, I'm at my assisted living.
So if you need a minute,
Sorry.
no worries. If you want a sec, let me know. I can run with it for a minute.
So all those things did not work for me. And then I started just winging it, right? And that works for me. I get really excited about it. So I don't go with any visual aids. I don't go with anything with me. I just go, just me. There's nothing in hand. Every presentation is different because every client is different. So it may be an engineer client, it may be a doctor client, it may be somebody who's a business owner, somebody who's working for a corporation, a nurse or a doctor, right? And I realized it makes a difference. Every presentation is different because it's not a presentation, it's a connection. So when I walk in, I learn more about them before I even open my mouth. And usually my clients are coming from two different sources. One is referral from my past clients, friends, people who know me. Or second, they have gone on Google or Facebook and have searched for a realtor in our area and saw the testimonials from my clients. So no leads, no, because I can't do the cold calls. I tried and I failed miserably. So I know like they have already asked me to come over because they like what I have to offer and they have some idea about it. So what's left is like I'm interviewing them as much as they're interviewing me. Because I want to make sure that this is the client I actually want to take on. I don't take on every client. I have declined clients who said like they want to work with me. And after meeting with them, I was like, I don't have patience for you. I'm sorry, you need a more patient realtor, anything. And then I have clients where just like, they were not confident before meeting. And then after meeting, they said, oh my God, we are interviewing 4 or 5 people, but after talking to you, feel like a friend because the connection part, right? So that's what works for me. And I think not last year, earlier last year, I actually did try to do a presentation. I picked up my old presentation because it was an engineer who called me to come over and meet with him to list his home. And he was asking a lot of questions. So, oh, this person will need that presentation kind of thing. And when I met him, it did not go very well because I was so focused on trying to cover all the points in my presentation that I did not connect with him at an individual level that I usually do. And I left feeling like, kind of thing. But then his wife called me and she said like, hey, can you come over for coffee? I was like, do you have more questions? She's like, no, I just want to meet with you and sit down and just chat a little bit more. I said, okay. And I went back and it was completely different because I was not doing a presentation. I met with her, he came later. But by the time he came, his wife and I were like laughing, joking, talking about like different things. And then he joined in. And I think I was so relaxed. And he came home and he was like, just joining the conversation. It worked out. And then I talked to him later. I was like, hey, all that presentation that I did you have any questions about it? He's like, I was not very focused on that. I was like, why? He's like, no, it was just like, it was not, what did he say? Like, it didn't work for him. He said, I just have certain questions. I just wanted answers so that I didn't need to know all the other things, anything. So I think the visualization part may be different for different people. Like for you, it was just like you're already visualizing. So if you go in and your client is a different personality than from your last client, how do you adjust? Are you there? No.
I'm talking on mute. Sorry, I said that's a really good question.
Mhm.
So you're saying how do you adjust basically?
Yeah, because everybody is different, right? So that's what I'm
Right.
saying. Like, my clients have different personalities,
Well,
and
so
my conversation is different with each client.
right. Well,
But if
here's my answer. First of all, in order to be able to adjust, I have to be calm and centered myself.
Mhm.
And the way I get calm and centered is part of that visualization, right? Because when I do my visualization, because I really am a big believer in visualization. That's how this topic came up. When I do my visualization, I'm not picturing the client doing any specific things other than I'm visualizing more the client having attributes. Like I'm visualizing the client being open to what I'm talking about. I visualize the client being, someone that's positive. They may not show up that way when I get there, and that's okay. I'm not trying to control the client, but that allows me to be centered, and I'm looking for those things in them that then I connect with and I'll adjust. So
got you.
right, so like I will, I mean, I have some people. I just did a call yesterday. This is not on the, this is with another agent, not on the listing side, but similar, with recruitment, and they were looking for someone that was very like decisive and like they were looking for this. So I talked a lot. I broke it down. I was giving it, and we got along great rapport, and went well. I had a call a week ago with someone different where I may have said 2 words for the entire call. And at the end of it, they looked at me and they said, "You're really easy to talk to. You're a great conversationalist." I was like, cool. So I think as long as you come in present and centered, it allows you then to do that flexibility that you need to do. Does that answer the question?
Yes, it does, because you are watching. So the visual, like, oh, I can't say that word right now, is more for you to center yourself and have your energy focused
Yes.
and creating the environment. Basically, you're creating an environment that you're walking in with
Correct.
in that presentation, and not expecting how client is going to react. You're just like how you're going to do something.
100%. Let's put it in the context of running a race, because that's so much an
Yeah.
easier visualization. You got 10 people lined up at the starting line. You are
Right.
visualizing the starting gun's going to go off and you're going to lead the pack, and you're visualizing yourself running at your pace, and right, whatever it looks like. In
Right.
real life, the gun goes off and 3 people run faster than you, right?
Yeah.
Because you have the visualization, you know that you're putting yourself back into the space of I'm just running my race. I know where I'm going. I'm visualizing that I'm going to be back ahead of the pack. You're not even paying attention to these people next to you because you have your vision. Same thing in an appointment, only here you actually do have to listen to the client. You can't just
Right.
run around and do your thing. But yeah, I think we're saying the same thing.
Yeah. Right.
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
So last couple of questions before I have a few more minutes.
Mhm.
When things go badly, I want to flip the script, because challenges come up in real estate. You are a self-described highly emotional person, right? Like you have strong feelings either way.
Mhm.
Do you ever use any of this, what I'm calling visualization, you were calling manifestation? Do you ever use any of that to resolve difficulties? How does that show up for you?
Explain what you mean. Like, give me an example of what you mean.
So I'll give you an example of what I do, right? So let's say we're towards the end of a transaction and buyer and seller aren't agreeing and things are getting heated about something small. It's something that happens all the time in transactions, right?
Yeah.
Before I call my client, right? And maybe they yelled at me last time I talked to them, which does happen, right? Clients get stressed and frustrated. Before I call my client, I will sit through, take a deep breath, and I will visualize, and I will go through in my mind the conversation that I'm going to have with them. I will like talk through it, but not just talk through it. Like I will picture it happening, right? And then I'll pick up the phone and I'll do it. And they may not see the things that I said that I thought they were going to say, but it still puts me in that space. That's what I mean.
Right. So I think I'm my worst enemy kind of thing. So when things go wrong, I react. I should just stop and visualize like what you're saying. And a lot of time it happens afterwards. So yesterday I yelled at the client that we had a closing for today, and they are buying another home with me. So after the closing, they say, "Hey, can we talk to you?" And I knew what it's going to be about because yesterday I yelled at them. So I was like, "Yeah, sure." He's like, "You know how much we love you." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Can you come over for dinner?" And I was like, "I don't have time. You know how busy I am. So no, I don't think so. Why? What's going on?" It's like, "We just want to talk to you." It's like, "Let's talk right now." Right. So we are standing at their car and talking. It's like, "We just feel like you're really busy and you don't have enough time for us." I think you're absolutely right. I do 10,000 things and I never have enough time for anybody. I'm trying to make all these things work. And they say, yeah, and we want to work with you. I was like, yes, but if you need more time, you need to find another realtor. I just straight out told them. I said, that's what we were worried about that you're going to say. I was like, so like, do you want me to recommend a couple of people? Do you have somebody in mind? Like, no, we want to work with you. So how do we make it work where we are not bothering you because you have a busy day? We know how busy you are. And yesterday we thought we have been bothering you again and again because we were calling for some questions, and that some were stupid questions, but at that time we were nervous and we thought you were short. I was short and I was upset because we have discussed all those things before. And I was like, why you're asking me this? You should have asked me last week when we talked. You should have asked me that 3 days ago when we talked, and you were asking me at the last moment. And that's why I was a little upset and frustrated, but it's nothing to do about that I don't have enough time. It was more to do like I had already talked about this with you guys, and I have told you guys to take notes. And this is their second transaction with me. So I was thinking they are going to talk about finding a new realtor. So they said like, so how do we work so you don't get frustrated with us and find us a next home, and how would we make it work? So should we set up appointments, weekly meeting, like every Wednesday you meet with us? We will make lunch for you. You can come over. We can meet somewhere. We can come over wherever you guys are. I think that won't work because I don't know what my life is going to be in 1 week. So all I want you to do is like, if you need me, just text me beforehand, before calling. And if I'm not busy, I'm like, yeah, let's talk. And if I'm busy, then I'll say, I'm busy right now. We will talk this evening. Or if it's something urgent, like, hey, this house just came on the market and we need to go see right now, then you just text me like, hey, this is happening. So either I say like, yeah, I'm available. Let me call the listing agent, or let me call another agent to show you. We will make it work. How does that sound? I say, okay, that's fine. I had completely different expectation in my mind. Like they're going to ask, can we go with another realtor because you don't have enough time? And they're saying like, we know you don't have enough time. So how do we make it work where you're not short with us and you're not getting mad at us, but you still is able to find us a home, right? And later on, I was thinking like, before getting shorted with them yesterday, I should have just taken a deep breath and called them like, tell me all the questions you have, what's going on, and discuss it. And that's why they had to call multiple times, because they would think of one thing, then 15 minutes later, they're calling me for something else that we have already discussed, but they're nervous. They're selling their home for the first time. That was the first time they bought their home with me. So I should have, as a professional, recognized that, right? And then what you say, like, if I have done it, what you have done, maybe I would not have shouted at them and made them feel bad.
Right.
But on the other hand, like also I'm visualizing negative, like, oh, I shouted at them, so they're going to come and ask for another realtor. And therefore people are like, hey, how do we make it work so we are not bothering you? Which is like, makes me feel worse.
Which by the way, in this whole story, I am blown away. Anyone listening, I hope you're blown away too. Gosh, what rapport and value you must be creating for your clients that you can yell at them and they're like, we want to work with you. You're like, go work with someone else. No, we want to work with you. That's amazing, Priyanka. I'm just impressed.
I feel bad that, yeah.
I'm impressed. So let's leave people with like a thought. How would you pull this together? If someone, I'm assuming most people watching this have some like exposure to visualization. Maybe this is the very first time that they're thinking, oh, I could use visualization in real estate. For you, manifestation, where would you say, let's leave them with, where would you get started?
I think when we use words like manifestation, visualization, kind of thing, we make people feel uncomfortable and something like, what the heck, like this is something they can't comprehend. So I would say what we're talking about, like growing up, my teachers told me, just go through the steps in your head. Visualization is nothing but what you are planning to do, that how you're going to do it, what steps you're going to take. Just think about it in your head. That's what visualization is. And maybe you can just close your eyes and say, like, see the movie, right? So you're creating a movie, what's going to happen. And that's what visualization is. And then once you start getting used to it, I think it becomes a habit. Like with me, it's a habit. It's not something that I sit down and do it on purpose. It's just happening like a reel in my head, right, continuously. And like new project comes up or new idea comes up, and I'm just like, oh, this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. What I have to do. For me, that's what visualization is. For you, it's like sitting down, making time, and then going through it. And I think depending on personality, everybody will have a different way to achieve it. But overall, it's just thinking about those future steps you need to take, right?
I mean, I do sit down, but I do think I have part of what you do, I do as well. I think a lot of people do it where you have an idea in your head and then you start going through it and you'll actually forget where you are. Like you'll be so deep into wherever you're going, but that's part of visualization. You are setting things up, you're going through it, you're running through options and getting and drawing that into your life. I feel, as you're describing, I realized, no, I do that also. I think a lot of people do. It's very cool.
It's a lifestyle. It's not like you can only do it with real estate. Once you start doing it, it just becomes like, your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. This is fun, Priyanka. I'm glad you made it on. Otherwise it was going to be me talking about this for 35 minutes. And I love your viewpoint.
When I saw the topic, I said, this one I have to get on because, last 2 or 3, I missed something was going on. And today was like closing with these guys. I said, how I'm going to do it? So I asked the title company, I was like, please make sure that we are done by 2 o'clock so I can get. So my client actually asked, and like, can we move the closing to 2? And they're like, no, Priyanka said no.
Well, thank you for being here. Anything else you want to leave people with today? Because this is great.
I think it's the least utilized tool that human beings have in their back pocket. And if human beings realize the potential of this, and like I said, it's like a quantum physics. So it's not hocus pocus. The energy you put out actually goes and works on what you are trying to attract. It really works. Like it works for you, it works for me. So many people can really use in their life.
Yep. And remember, your brain will not hear the negative. Mm-hmm. The quantum physics still works. So if you say, I don't want XYZ, it's not going to hear the I don't. It's only going to hear what you don't want. And that's what's going to show up. So it's a powerful tool. I love it. This is so much fun, Priyanka.
Same here. I love talking to you when we get time.
Yeah. Enjoy your weekend, guys. Enjoy your Friday. Thank you for being here. And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yep.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.